Welcome to Zen Zestful.
My name's Christina.
And I'm Mandy.
Why is it the older you get, the harder it is to stay consistent with your goals?
I think that's a big question.
It's a big question.
Didn't think that's how you were going to start. I think the older you get, your energy levels differ.
For sure.
Your priorities and your responsibilities just get bigger and bigger. You just have more added onto your plate, whether it's your personal life, whether it's work, whether it's, family, friends, other obligations that you have. So whatever your goals are start to fall on the back burner as time goes on, as you get older. And before you know it, you don't really even have any goals.
Well, that's a thought. I think everybody can relate to that, though, because everybody always feels so busy. And right now we're recording this in the summertime where even if I'm not busy that day, my head still feels busy because you have so many things to juggle and balance, and it can be so hard to prioritize.
And you're never present.
And you're never present. So it's almost like, what's even the point?
That's a little fucking morbid.
It's a little morbid.
I think time management is it's a learned skill.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's something that a lot of us are taught to prioritize, especially depending on, the kind of household that you lived in. Mm-hmm. I think your upbringing plays such a big factor in how you look at the idea of time management. Now it's even worse, though, because now we all have ADD and short attention spans. So we can't really manage our time at all because our attention is so it's always fleeting. Yeah. So then before you know it, nothing's getting done because I've just doom scrolled for however long, right? But I think time management is a learned skill, but so is discipline. And if you don't know how to set, like we talked about boundaries before, but if you don't know how to set those boundaries, you don't know how to remain disciplined, you're never going to be consistent.
And I think for some of us, myself included, it's very easy to look at things you want to do and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do all those things and I'm going to make it happen. But things will always fall to the bottom of that priority list.
Yeah. And I'm notorious for adding so much onto my plate. Like I remember, for years and years, I would say well over a decade. Actually, no, I would say for a good 15 years, I would think that I'm invincible and I can do everything because I'm a perfectionist and I'm so good at so many things, even though I'm not. And it's I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And time's running out. So I got to take on everything and finish it because I said I would. And
there with you.
If I don't do it, I'm a fucking failure. And then you realize I'm exhausted and falling apart and I'm actually irritable and I'm actually kind of a shitty person now because I did this to myself, but now I'm getting angry at everyone else for the thing that I decided to take on.
Yes, and then I get mad at myself also.
But I'm also mad at everyone else for existing because you're getting in the way of the things that I need to get to.
Indeed, and it's so funny to take this back to, well, this is reality for us, but to take this into other people's reality, we often joke that we don't have time to have kids.
I have no time to have kids.
We're so focused on all these other things. And I think it's funny, but it's also so true for us because there's just other things we'd rather prioritize. So it is a strength, I would argue, that we know this about ourselves.
We do, but I have friends that have kids, mm-hmm. and I'm always how kudos to you, but what? Because I have no children, and the thought of having these non-existent children, I really want a dog, right? I want 6 dogs, and
I understand.
Oh my god! And I have the breeds picked out, and I have everything ready to go. I just need to find the time.
Ready to set the plan into action.
I just need a job that pays me to exist, so I can take care of these 6 non-existent baby doggies. And but I always look at my friends that have kids, and I'm like, where would I fit? How? And I think, look, at the end of the day, as women, I do think that once you have a child that is dependent on you, your body just naturally knows to get up and start doing those things. But then there's so much of having to push through. Mm-hmm. I saw something online where she was I just don't want to push through. On a day that you're tired or you have so much on the go, but you still have to push through as a mom to do all these things. And I'm I don't want to push through either. But then I'm but I don't have kids. And I still don't want to push through because
Quit while you're ahead.
Because I've taken on so many responsibilities that I think I can do because, I'm like, I have nothing but time. And then before you realize, well, that's not actually true. You don't have time.
Yeah.
Because the misconception is the people that don't have kids, they have all this free time to willy-nilly do whatever. And the reality is that might be true for a small percentage of them, but in a 24-hour day, how much time do you really have to devote to yourself?
Yeah.
When you take away travel, food, chores, responsibilities, going to work responsibilities, sleep, how much is left in 100%. Your day for just you?
I was literally talking to my husband about this the other day because he said, oh, do you remember when you were a kid and you lived at home and you didn't have to cook? And then suddenly you move out on your own and then you realize how much time cooking takes.
It's the cleanup.
But it's like you buy the groceries, you cook, then you clean, then it's 7:30, then you have to take the dog out, which is a joy and I love her. But then it's like, oh, it's 9 p.m. and now I can sit down.
Did you include the part where you eat the food?
No, I forgot. I suppose that is something I should prioritize if I'm going through the efforts of cooking a meal.
I fucking hate people say, oh, it's an art and and yes, it is. It's all those things. It's supposed to be peaceful, relaxing, etc. But in my mind, I'm like, how much mess am I creating? Like, I got to clean the dishes and then I got to clean the countertops but I just cleaned everything and now I'm going to fuck it all up all over again for this one meal that is going to last me 10 minutes of joy. Yeah. I also think that, on the subject of we don't have kids and we have time, but why do we still struggle to stay consistent? I think there's a big difference between prioritizing things versus deciding things. And oftentimes, because you think you have all of this time to do whatever you want to do, the lines get blurred and then things just fall on the bottom of your list, things that you're supposed to be consistent with and prioritize, that you just kind of, so much time has elapsed and you realize, oh, shit, I've fallen off again.
Yeah, I haven't done the thing. And that's the thing. I think it's easy to say, oh, this is on my list of things to do, and you may think you have every intention of doing them, but then you're not doing them over a period of time. So in a way, you're deciding to not do them because you haven't allowed them to be a priority. And
you think you have all the time in the world to do them later.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, 2 weeks have gone by, 5 months have gone by, 2 years have gone by, and I still haven't stepped foot into the gym. I still haven't lost the 30 pounds. And in addition to not losing the 30 pounds, I've added another 15.
Yeah.
And I'm just creating this downward spiral that's getting harder and harder to climb out of. And the problem isn't that I can't step foot into the gym, because let's be real, you can. And you might for a week, but then you don't. You stop going after it.
Yeah, and I think that can be dangerous territory, because I think something like that can lead into identity shifts where suddenly you're like, oh, well, I've failed at doing this for so long. Now I've decided I'm the kind of person who doesn't go to the gym. I'm not a gym person. I'm not somebody who cooks healthy meals at home. I'm
not a yoga person.
I'm not a yoga person. Because you've almost created this narrative in your head.
What I am not.
What you are not, because you're not doing something, even though it's on a list, but then you feel guilty that you're not doing this thing you want to do, and then you decide, oh, well, I'm just not that person that does that thing.
It's funny you say that, because I had gone to, I was at a wedding 2-3 weeks ago, and I don't know if she's going to listen to this or not, but whatever. Gem of a person, right? My makeup artist. And
she did a crazy good job.
I didn't even look like myself. I mean, I look like myself.
You look like yourself.
I just remember looking at the mirror. I was like, holy fuck, I'm pretty.
Of course you're pretty.
I know, but to see it, it was like,
oh wow.
Anyway, so her and I were talking about career stuff, right? And I was just talking about what I do at work and whatever, and goals I was setting for fitness and yada yada yada. And then she goes, I could, I was like, I got to do this race and this run. And she's like, I could never do that. I'm like, not with that fucking attitude.
No.
You can't. And she's like, what? I'm like, obviously you said you can't. So
you've already decided.
And she's like, huh. And I'm like, yeah, this is you've determined
Yeah.
You've already determined that you can't do this thing.
Yeah.
Realistically, you could do the thing. You just don't want to do the thing.
And it's funny that you should mention that in the context of a race, because last year when you asked me if I wanted to do a 5K, my initial inclination was to say no, because I'm not a runner, because I've decided I'm not a runner. But that's also because
You're a swimmer.
I'm a swimmer. I do a lot of physical activity stuff.
Right.
But I've never had joy when running. But then when you asked me, I was like, what's my reason for saying no? Like, I don't have one.
I have yet to find joy in running.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, here are my reasons to say yes. I get to do something fun with you. I get to try something new to me. And I get to push myself physically in a way that I haven't tried before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, everything is pointing to yes, I am a runner, it turns out.
So it's funny you say that, because this year's run, I took another friend, and we had very similar goals. And she's like, she goes, I don't think I can run 5K. She's like, I don't run outside. And I'm like, and I dragged her in the dead of winter, and I'm like, let's go. Like, we're running down Port Credit. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to do this race with you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you know what? You just go on without me. She goes, I don't want to slow you down. Just go. I want you to do great. And I had gotten my period, unfortunately, like the day of the race. Yeah. So I was like already dying.
It's tough.
And so we're running, and we ended up having the same time. And she had never done a 5K before.
Wow.
And so we do this 5K race. And at the end of it, she's like, we're going to sign up for a 10K. And I'm like, yes.
Amazing.
Yes, but you don't realize what your body craves, and what the shifting your mindset from literally in March or February, she's like, I can't do this. I don't know if I can, to, oh yeah, now we're going to do 10 kilometers.
Yeah.
And you don't, until you do it, you don't know. And until you give yourself that space to actually see what is it that your body and your mind are craving, and then actually allow yourself the space to be consistent.
Yes.
And give yourself the gratification of completing the goal that you clearly want to do, but you won't prioritize
100%.
Because you've told yourself, I have all these other things that take precedent first.
Yes. It's also so hard to create long-standing habits, no matter how good your intentions are. And maybe you're starting to work out, or I see this all the time, people will come to yoga, especially at the beginning of the year when they're fresh, they're motivated, they're ready to go. And they'll come, maybe their goal is 2 times a week, and they'll come the first week, they'll come the second week, but then the third week, maybe they can only come to one of those classes. But then they feel ashamed because they think, oh, well, now I've messed up my goal, I've missed the class, I've lost my momentum, and then they don't come at all the following week.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that happen. I've watched it year over year happen, where you start something so solidly, but then one little thing throws you off and you can't get it back again. Or that's how it feels in the moment, right? Because you have a sense of guilt and like shame, I would say, over failing your goal. But it's through those initial stages that you have to understand what's realistic, first of all, and then you have to not get fully knocked down by messing up that building of the goal. Yeah, your thoughts. And a really good book that I liked, I read it a year or two ago, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm actually, I listened to it on audiobook.
Yeah.
But I think I want to buy the actual hard copy book.
And
highlight and make notes, because I was actually making notes on my phone when I was listening to it, because there's so many gems of wisdom in that book.
Yeah.
And he breaks it down for you. And when I was listening to it, I thought, oh, this seems really simple. And then my second thought was, well, why am I not doing it?
A lot of those books, though, those self-help type books, when you're reading it, you're listening to it, you're like, this isn't rocket science. And then you look at your own life and you're like, actually it is.
Yeah, well, it's like you need somebody, and that's the point of having teachers in any aspect of life, mentors, because you have to sometimes just have somebody say something to you. It's like when kids, their parents are teaching them how to drive or swim or whatever, and kids are like, not paying any attention because it's their parent. Whatever, and then you take the kid to a swimming lesson or to a driving school, and now they have another teacher, and then they pay attention perhaps a little bit better. They take what that teacher says a little bit more seriously. It's the same thing with this.
It is. And you do need something holding you accountable, whether it's, whether it's your kids, your partner, your friends, a mentor, like a running group or whatever the thing is that holds you accountable, like a sense of community, because now it's easy to let yourself go. But when other people are watching you do the thing and then you don't do the thing, it's like, this fucking loser, like,
Totally.
you said you're going to do the thing. And I used to be guilty of that throughout my 20s, where I would like take on all these things that I want to do. And then, like I said, you put so much on your plate and then things start to fall off the wayside. And then now you're not doing the thing that you said you would, or, you know, if you've got an injury or something happens in your personal life, and now that's your crutch to hold on to for why you're not going to continue on doing the thing you said you would do. And then going back into not being consistent and not having that discipline, it also falls into not having the integrity, because now you're not doing what you said you were going to do.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then you just feel this sense of shame, and then it ties right back into what you said. I'm just not the kind of person that runs. It's easier to say, I'm not the kind of person who does an X, Y, and Z, versus asking yourself, why don't I have integrity?
Absolutely. Because humans, I live by this, will always look for the easiest way out, be it physically or mentally. And it's just, I think we're just wired to do that. So then it's up to you to hold yourself accountable and to ask yourself those questions.
Yes. Also, why do you struggle to put yourself first in your own life and then think that you're being selfless by putting everything and everyone else before you, and you come last and your own needs come last?
Excellent question. It's like you're pouring from an empty cup is the first analogy.
Right. And then you're like, well, I'm such a selfless person. I'm so nice. I'm so good. But realistically, you're drowning in under the weight of the responsibilities that you created, because you can't put yourself first. And I think the older I get now and the more I've had to cultivate discipline, especially in the last couple of years in my own life, I would say that this whole like facade of self-love and self-care on social media of like, oh, it's a bubble bath and it's just some tea and it's just some, you know, get yourself a massage and whatever the fuck it is out there, right? I'm not supposed to swear. But it's bullshit, because true self-love is, can you do what you said you were going to do, and then hold yourself accountable for those times where you're not doing the thing you said you were going to do.
Yeah, and that creates a relationship with yourself and cultivates self-trust and self-compassion.
Yeah, and you start to realize, like, because the more into that rabbit hole you go into, you have to ask yourself those tough questions. Why can't I stay disciplined? Oh, I was never taught how. Now I have to learn how, and I'm learning that I'm putting everyone else before me. And there's guilt associated with saying no to your friends, saying no to your family. Your partner wants to go out for dinner, or your partner's made a commitment to, you know, hang out with a bunch of friends, and now you're going with them. But this is actually eating into your time that you were supposed to go to the gym. So how do you set those boundaries? Or, you know, we were talking about like not having kids, but if you have kids, little Timmy has hockey practice or soccer practice or whatever practice, piano lessons, and that's your evening. That's an hour right there.
Yeah.
That's not for you. That's for little Timmy. So taking him there, bringing him back, getting him an after school snack, getting his homework done. Well, there goes like 4 hours of your evening. So where is the you time?
Yep. And I'm sure parents will say like, well, obviously I have to take care of my kid. And that's absolutely true. But then it's, how do you structure your week or navigate that? I don't know. Maybe you're able to read a book that you care about when little Timmy has his piano lessons, or you have to be creative. And I think it's important to say that we are not saying drop everybody and be a selfish asshole.
But look at your week through a realistic lens and look at, okay, I have 7 days in a week. Which days are for other people? And then where can I find that like tiny little window just for me? And in that window, am I actually committed to that window for myself, or am I making an excuse and doom scrolling during that window? And now I've lost that window.
So something I have been doing for a while now is every week I will put a rest night in my calendar. And that rest night goes from after work is done to the entire evening. It does not mean I go to a class. It does not mean I hang out with anybody or have anybody over. It's me spending time at home with my dog, for sure, perhaps my husband, but I am at home doing whatever I want to do. Maybe I'm taking time to try a new recipe. Maybe I am watching TV or I'm reading, but I don't leave. And that's my my rest night. And it's funny because in the summertime, I struggle to keep that boundary because there's so much going on. The wintertime, it's a little bit easier. But in the summertime, of course, it's like, oh, well, do you want to go out for drinks? Do you want to try this new studio? Do you want to do X, Y, and Z? And it can be hard. And so sometimes I catch myself in the summer making excuses, being like, oh, well, like this yoga pass is only good until the end of the month, or I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to see this friend again. So that's definitely something I struggle with, but that's how I try to combat my tendencies.
See, I did this rest night. It lasted a month.
Okay.
And I fell off all my goals.
Okay.
I went to Mexico, and I had gone to Mexico sober. I was sober since December. And then I had my first drink at 5 a.m. at Pearson Airport.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
I think you texted me.
Tequila shots at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so because I hadn't drank for since December, the 1 week of drinking in Mexico just destroyed me.
But you knew you were going to go there and drink.
I knew I was going to go do that.
It's not like you...
But I've never experienced this feeling in my life where, not to say that I'm not an alcoholic. I socially drink, but to not drink for that long and then to have a drink, my system was like, what did you just do to us?
Of course.
So when I came back, it took me 4 to 7 days almost just to reset my body because I had no appetite, I had no energy, I had insane brain fog. And then obviously when you take a vacation, all your work has piled up. So I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to use this as a few days to rest and listen to my body. And I did that, and that turned into a week, that turned into 2 weeks, and then the 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks, and then the 3 weeks turned into almost a month, and I was like, I need to go back to yoga. And then I'm like, I need to go, oh my God, I signed up for a race.
Which is when?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. And how much have you practiced for this race?
Hold on.
How long have you practiced for this race? The high rock, it's a half high rock, so it's not a little 5K. Riddle me this. When did you practice for your race, Mandy?
Twice.
You're bold, man. I'm so proud of you for being so
My
bold.
friend tomorrow is I'm actually ashamed because it's you do it with a partner.
Yeah.
I don't think she realizes
what she signed up for.
I just look fit.
Listen, sometimes that's half the battle.
Look, tomorrow when I go there, I'm prepared to throw up. I just want to finish the stupid race. Not to say it's a stupid race. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
We signed up for it in the spring. And I was like, yeah, 4 months, plenty of time. And now for the last 3.5, 4 weeks, I'm in my rest phase. I'm listening to my body. And then this entire week, I was like, oh shit, I've got 5 days to figure this out. I've got 5 days to hit the time goal of what I'd like. But you know what?
You're strong in spirit, and that goes far.
I just need to get through it.
You can do it.
I will do it.
I know you'll finish it.
Oh my fucking God, I'm so scared. Look, today we are going to carb load.
Yes.
Tomorrow I'm going to meditate.
Yes.
And Jesus will take the wheel.
Jesus will take the wheel. Jesus will help you through every single burpee jump box thingy you have to do. I hope you hallucinate Jesus cheering you on. I think that'd be really nice.
Oh my God. The person I feel for the most is my partner in this.
Fair.
Because she's been training really hard. I'm very proud of her. And her husband, who has also been training very hard, and I have not. So this will be a lesson for me.
Yes.
Or maybe I'll just find out that I'm in the top 1% of people who can just do shit like this.
Could you imagine?
This is how I find out?
Yeah. Speaking of falling off the wagon, the one time that I really fell off in my yoga practice was in 2018 when my condo got bed bugs.
The bed bug story.
The bed bug story. It was a time, man. It's funny because it was so horrendously traumatic, and it sounds stupid if you've never dealt with bed bugs before.
No, bed bugs, people don't understand
but people actually don't understand.
Bed bugs are expensive.
Oh my God.
It is not just, oh, let's call pest control.
No.
No.
It was actually life altering in a variety of ways. One which ended up me getting married to my husband. So that's a story for our next episode.
Silver lining.
Silver lining. But when I was dealing with all of that, of course, all my money was gone because you're paying to clean things. You're throwing stuff out as much as you can. Because I was renting, I didn't have to pay for the pest control, but I lost so much money. I threw out so much furniture because I
if they get into your furniture, they grow out of
what I learned so early on, I had this extremely low pile rug by my front entryway, and it was in the first few days I saw one on my rug and I went to go kill it, but it had flattened itself so much that I couldn't kill it. And like I said, it was a low pile rug, so it didn't even look like there was space for it to somehow exist, but I couldn't kill it. And that to me was when I decided I was throwing all of my furniture away because I could not deal with it.
I can just picture you in panic mode.
It was so bad. And it's funny too, because in my yoga practice, anytime I'm extremely stressed, whether I'm aware of it or not, I'll lose my balance. And naturally I have very, very good balance. But I had still tried to go to a couple of yoga classes that first week of the bed bug incident, and I was falling over. I could not do it. And it was crazy. And the stupidest shit, like Warrior 2. I'm like, how do I fall out of a Warrior 2?
Yeah.
As a pretty regular practitioner, I was going like 5 times a week at that point. Anyways, long story short, in dealing with all of that, uprooting my life, eventually my now husband and I moved in together. We were in a different part of the city, and life had kind of settled down. We were still learning to live with each other or whatever. And then I just felt so agitated all the time. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And then my husband, he's like, you should go to yoga. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess it's been like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I started going back to yoga, and that also took effort because now I'm living in a different place. I need to figure out how to get there. My whole routine is shot. I had to really build up that momentum again.
Yeah.
And then I was able to do that. I went to yoga and I was like, oh, this is me as a good person.
Yeah. Not her.
Not her.
Yeah.
She had some issues a little trauma.
I fell off my yoga practice I've fallen off multiple times throughout life, but most recently, I was consistent since getting my yoga teacher training and teaching and everything. The longest I've fallen off is actually about, I would say, almost 8 months.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. And this was, I was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff in my personal life. I was running, I replaced yoga with running. And I was doing a bunch of other things, but I wasn't yogaing, and I was doing some mobility work for the running, but it's not the same as like a proper yoga practice. And after not doing it for 8 months and then having to go back because my body really, I was like gorilla glued together, every muscle fiber is stuck together, and I'm agitated. My posture's
shit.
Garbage, and I talk so much about posture, and I spent so much money on this to breathe properly, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So I go back. What I learned immediately was all of my bad habits got worse. My hips had gotten worse. My body had gotten worse. My brain fog was insane. The overthinking, everything else.
All mental health.
All my mental health was shot. And having to go back to it after not doing it for 8 months was so humbling, because you realize how much your body needs something.
Yeah.
And then you've deprived it for so long of the thing that it needs. And then it's so humbling because you're like, I used to be good at this.
I know.
And now I'm back to page 1. Yeah. And the people that are teaching me know I'm a yoga teacher, but I can't even hold a pose. And I'm trembling in, like you said, you fell out of Warrior 2. I'm holding this basic ass fucking pose. I'm sitting cross-legged, okay?
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Cross-legged is a lot.
And it hurts. And having to, cultivate those skills back, you really realize that not only do I never want to feel this ever again, it humbles you to a point where you're like, I'm having to earn back everything that I had earned before and now have lost.
I have had students, I've taught at the same studio for over 5 years, and I've had students that, will come for a while and then fall off and come back and everything. And they'll say to me like, oh, it's so hard to get back into things. And absolutely it is. But I'll always say, like, your body will remember. You had to practice before. Your body will remember how it's supposed to feel, but it's going to be hard to get there. It's going to be hard to hold those poses. But your body will remember. You just have to be patient in order to get there again.
But you have to be mindful of your own thoughts, because your excuses will increase. What I remember the first time I went, I was like, this sucks. And like, there's this sense of like, it motivates you to want to come back to get better, because you know where you once were, or you're looking around at other people in the class and you're like, I want to be like her. Yeah. And you know, not that you're supposed to compare yourself.
Oh, ego will really be tested when you come back.
It was all ego. I was like, I need to get back. I need to be able to hold a pose. I need, whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to come back. And then, but the excuses start, because you're like, oh, well, I went yesterday and, maybe I should take it easy. I shouldn't just rush right back in, and I should spread the days. And then you're like, I'll do it every other day. Well, okay, the next day something else comes up.
Or something will literally always come up.
Work was really long. There was a crash on the 401 and now I'm stuck in traffic and I just don't feel like going. And it's like, but I did go 2 days ago. I'll go tomorrow. Yeah. And then I caught myself doing that in the first. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've paid money for this, and that money is getting taken out of your bank account. Why are you not going? And it's not cheap. So
no fitness is cheap.
No fitness is cheap. And which is like a whole other conversation. Yes. But I do think that when you fall off the wagon and you get back on, the key component is to not let your brain make more excuses. Just go right into it, and then don't allow yourself the space to fall off.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's so easy to forget that, yes, whatever physical modality, since that's the topic we're in right now, obviously requires physical effort and learning, but there's so much of a mental component to physical things.
Most of it is mental.
I was telling you earlier that I had a yoga teacher in India when I went, and it was like week 3 or 4, everyone was exhausted out of their minds. Nobody felt like they could focus, and some people didn't want to have class one day. And he was quite stern, and he's like, everything is in your head. He said, you are more than physically capable of doing whatever it is you want to do in this moment. And yeah, you might be tired, but you rested yesterday. You have this energy in your energy bank. So today, even though you're not feeling quite as upbeat,
do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I think about what he said very often now, because if there's days where, exactly like what you were saying, like I'm tired, I don't really feel like it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's what my brain is telling me, but physically I know that I need to move, and I know that my body is capable of moving. So I'm going to try and move.
I think the why matters more though than like what you're saying is 100% true. But when you have a why, if your why is aesthetics, you're not going to commit. You're not going to commit, because there's always going to be like another time to catch that aesthetic. You'll keto it, starve yourself, whatever, right? The movement part, as you get older, it's not so much about the aesthetics as it is about prevention of disease and injury. And what I tell myself now that I'm in my mid-30s is, okay, my body internally is working against me. It's preparing me to die.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, like it is falling apart. Like it peaked at 25, 26. And after 30, it's just going on a downhill like slide. And I need to fight against it to keep it, optimal for as long as I possibly can. Yeah. So the more time that I waste with excuses and say, you know what, I'll go next week, or you know what, next pay, or whatever issues are being cultivated inside of me that I'm not aware of because you can't see what's happening inside you, whatever deterioration is taking place within, that's only going to increase the longer I wait. So we know now with research, okay, you need to lift weights, you need to do mobility work, you need to have strong bones, you need to have strong legs, you need to have, reduce your inflammation. Yeah. Those things require you to take action.
Yes.
And the more you wait and delay that action, the harder you're making it for yourself for when you're 40, when you're 50, when you're 60. And now, let's say you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, yo, bro, you got fucking heart disease, and now
Osteoporosis.
you got osteoporosis, and now you have just changed the type of training that your body is capable of from what it could have been to now whatever your body is allowed to do with the inflammation and the pain that you're having to manage.
100%.
Yeah. So that for me is always like, I'm battling the clock and I have to go. And if I don't go, I'm a fucking loser. Like sometimes you do like this, the self-talk of like, you know, floral language with yourself. Like there's a time and place for it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But certain times you need to get...
You have to be honest with yourself.
You have to be honest. It's like, yo man, what the fuck are you doing?
Am I being lazy?
Why am I being lazy?
Why? What else? What am I going to do that is going to be a better use of my time right now? I'll ask myself that and be like, oh, perhaps I should do some chaturangas.
Going back to what you were saying about people creating identities for themselves by saying, I can't do this. The one we hear the most is, I
can't touch my... Were you going to say it together? Were you going to say it? What were you going to say?
I'm not flexible, but yeah,
I can't touch my toes. If I had even 10 cents for every time I've heard that, I'd be a wealthy woman.
We'd be really rich. We wouldn't be sitting here doing this podcast.
No, we would be in a studio with a camera crew,
not in
doing
front of
this podcast.
Not in front of my bookshelf here that I've
beautiful. It's nice, so nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I don't think people really understand that flexibility is not something that you're just born with. There are people that are flexible, but unless your parents put you in dance or gymnastics when you were younger, you're most likely not going to be flexible. And if anything, you're just going to become more and more rigid as you get older. And I keep saying we're going to talk about fascia, so I'm not going to go into the flexibility component and rigidity when it comes to fascia, but flexibility isn't something that just comes from like 1 to 5 yoga classes.
Oh my God, no.
And meeting yourself where you are, where your body is, and then growing from that space to become flexible can take 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years, right? And that's where the yoga lifestyle is completely based on consistency, because you can't just say, let's just take flexibility out of the equation and talk about your brain fog and your mental stillness. When you first start yoga, it's all ego. Mm-hmm. Everything is ego and comparison and the teacher and the room and the temperature and how much you suck. Am I doing this
right? Is it, how much you suck? Yeah.
How much you suck. Yeah. And you do. I'm sorry. My first yoga class, I was like, the fuck is this? But
many people think that.
Yeah. And I was like 18 years old when I went to like an actual studio to practice it. But that space where you have that space of stillness when you're in Shavasana, you don't get to that until you've been doing it for months and months and months or years. Mm-hmm. And in order to feel like I can't put a value on that feeling or that sensation, because you have to experience it to understand what it truly entails for your mind. And, people who have never experienced it shit on the people who talk in that language, but you've never felt what that person has felt. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to knock it down. But if off the bat, your go-to is, I'm just not someone who does yoga. I could never be flexible. I could never sit still. It's either I'm not flexible or I can't turn my brain off. I could never sit still.
100%.
And those two people are the same person. And once you've cultivated that identity for yourself, you've created this barrier. And you're never going to be consistent because you're so convinced you can't follow through with this.
100%. I was a competitive figure skater when I was younger.
Oh shit.
And I was really good.
I didn't know that.
No?
Did I know that?
I don't know.
No.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole thing as to why I quit. That's another story for another time. But when I was in figure skating, I've always more naturally been a strong person. And I think everything you said of flexibility can also be said with strength. Because people tend to be either more flexible or more strong. So for me, I've always been a stronger person. And I was at the point in competition where we had a whole bunch of off ice sessions to like work on flexibility and all that kind of stuff. Whole bunch of girls that I skated with were also in gymnastics or dance. I wasn't. And they could do the splits. They could do all these things. And I couldn't do it. And I remember one of the teachers saying to me at one point, like, oh, like if you don't get the splits before your like 16 or whatever, you're never going to be able to do it.
Oh my God.
Because you're so more prone to being flexible when you're younger. And for me, I couldn't do it. And then I literally remember, even though I wasn't skating at the time when I was like 16, thinking, oh, well, I guess I'm never doing the splits. Like, it was this weird thing ingrained in my brain. Anyways, fast forward to when I was more integrated into my yoga practice, and every bit of flexibility I have now is due to consistency.
Yeah.
And I know my students will see me and be like, oh, Christina can do X, Y, and Z. And I have to say to them, I'm like, this does not come natural to me. This is years and years and years of practice. And I can do my splits now.
Yeah.
As of like a year or two ago, it depends. It depends on like how consistent I'm being about hamstring flexibility, but I can do them now.
But when you don't practice for, what is it, your day is 3 to 5 days?
For me, yeah, if I don't practice after 3 days, I notice it in my body.
See, I didn't practice so when I went back to the studio, I did their intro session, and it was 7 days straight. So within 7 days, on like the 8th class, I'm like, oh my God, I'm back to where I was within 8 days.
Yeah.
And then
that's a consistency.
And then I went to Mexico, so that's 7 days gone. I came back and I had a shit show of a week because I was listening to my body and resting. So that's another 7 days gone. So we're at 14 days. And then the third week, I was like, okay, I need to go back. And I had one class, and I was I was getting back to the heat, and then trembling and holding a pose and literally being like, what the actual fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Because why is my hip not opening?
Yeah.
And that's 3 weeks. And that's as a yoga teacher who doesn't teach yoga anymore, really. And so I think people don't realize that even the people who are strong looking and flexible looking, behind the scenes, it takes a lot of work to be that.
Oh my God,
it's not just like, oh, I'm naturally this and that's how I'm going to be for the rest of my life.
Totally. And like for me as a teacher, it's actually huge motivation for me to keep up doing what I've got to do.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to show up properly for my students.
Yeah.
And also for my own practice. I sincerely think you cannot teach yoga if you do not have your own practice. Because what are you teaching from?
No.
Right? So it's so incredibly important, and I have a routine where I make sure I'm always moving throughout the week, even if it's a little bit. And that's something that I've personally had to work on, because I used to think, oh, a yoga practice is only good enough if it's for an hour and if it's vigorous.
No.
It's really, and I have worked really hard for the last year especially trying to get that out of my head. So now I'll say, okay, even if I have 20 minutes to practice, I will take that 20 minutes. And then I'll decide, does it need to be vigorous? Like, do I need to do
insane poses?
I can't do insane poses in 20 minutes, but like sun salutation A's and B's. Is it that kind of day? Or is it me being like, oh my Lord, my hips are tight.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang out in a lizard for a while or do some yin, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge part of consistency too. Like being able to give myself the permission to be flexible with how I'm showing up for myself is a huge part in being able to maintain that consistency.
So for you, what does intentionally working towards your goals actually look like?
Being realistic is the first one, which is hard for me because I, as we have talked about, love to be like, oh, I'll do all of these things, it'll be great, la la la. So something that I started doing last year was writing out my weekly goals.
Okay.
At first, there was many. And I thought, I'm going to do all these things. It's going to be so great. And I've written them down so they're real goals. And then I noticed throughout the week, there would be excuses. There would be different goals that I would obviously prioritize over others. So I really had to start narrowing down what it was that I was going to commit to throughout that week. So for me personally, a couple examples. I want to practice by myself 3 times a week. Even if I'm going to studio classes, like I want to be on my mat at home 3 times a week, or I'm going to meditate at least 3 times a week. And I'll make it a SMART goal, like specific, measurable, whatever the fuck that is. It's SMART. Whatever that stands for. I'm sure maybe I'm missing part of it now because I can't even remember what SMART stands for. Isn't it specific, measurable? We're just going to take that out.
Okay, no.
It's something like that,
I can't take this out. Someone will tell us what it is.
Someone smarter than me will tell me what it
Okay, so you've got your SMART goal.
I got my allegedly SMART goal. Who knows? Maybe I'm missing part of it. But I then have to hold myself accountable.
Continue.
I then have to hold myself accountable to those goals. Okay. And when I start to fall off, I noticed it actually a few weeks ago because I was getting all just excited about different summer things happening. So I was starting to fall off my goals and not holding myself accountable. So then I sat myself down and I said, hey, what are we actually going to do this week? And what are we actually going to commit to?
Okay.
How many times is it going to happen? What is it actually going to look like? Instead of having loosey-goosey ideas as to...
And being all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah. So then I look at my week and I say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z on these days. I know I'm tied up on this day, so nothing's going to happen here.
Yeah.
How can I slot this in? And even if it doesn't work out, and I know some people might be against this, if I know that one night when I want to do something doesn't work out, I try to have a backup idea as to when I could do that. I know some people would say like, oh, well, then you're not being accountable to yourself, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever.
It's
realistic.
It's realistic because who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
So similar to what you said, I like to plan my week on the Sunday. Like Sunday morning, I cultivate for me. I'll take out whatever time it is. Before I had a different sort of routine, and I kind of fell off of that. What I used to do was every Sunday morning, I would go over to the lake and I would sit there with my journal and I would just write out. And if it was wintertime, I would go over to my coffee shop and I'd had my spot there, I'd had my coffee, and then that's 2 hours for me to read and then set out my week and my calendar and everything, right? But similar, now I just do it at home. I look at what do the next 7 days look like up until next Sunday. That includes plans with friends. And some of my friends who are I don't know, what would that be, type B, C, or D, where they just kind of make a plan on the spot.
Right.
They struggle understanding that if you want to hang out with me, you need to let me know a week or two in advance, right? And because I have to structure my week around. And for them, it's do you want to grab dinner tomorrow? No,
that's not how I roll either.
I can't roll. I can't do that. I can't, depending on who the friend is, there are certain friends where, you know what, you need me at 10 p.m. I'm there for you, whatever, I'll show up, right? Yeah. But if you want to actually hang out and do something, I need a 7-day minimum notice. Yeah. So if I've got that on the go, where do my workouts fall out? What kind of workouts am I doing? What are those workouts going to be? Is it strength? Is it running? Is it yoga? Which days do I fit in the yoga? Which days do I fit in the Pilates? And then step further, what days am I washing my hair? So so which days can I go super hardcore at the gym, because what days do I have to devote to all of this? And groceries, what days am I doing the groceries? What days am I cooking? What do those meals look like? What days can I afford to eat out, because when do I run out of food in my fridge? Yep. And all of those things have to be written down for me. Otherwise, I know myself enough to know that I'm going to fall off.
I'm the same way.
And if it's not written down and it's not in my calendar, it's not in my notebook, then I'm going to make an excuse. But if it's in my notebook and I haven't done it, now I have to look at it. And then I have to feel like shit.
Yeah.
Because you stupid loser, you didn't do the thing you said you were going to do.
You've written it down.
You've written
you
it
see
down.
It in black and white.
Yeah. And so for me, it's making sure that I've planned it realistically. I've taken into account sleep, because I learned over the last 2 years, I am someone that needs a consistent sleep schedule. And I know that I need minimum 7.5 hours, max 8.5. Mm-hmm. But if it's less than 7.5, I'm not getting up. So what time do I go to bed and what time do I wake up? And that dictates what time of day the workout is.
Yeah.
And what day of the week it is. And then obviously taking into account this podcast and what days am I recording? What days am I editing?
Yes.
And creating content. People obviously think you're a content creator. People think that it just happens
so
on
much time.
Yeah. But a lot of people, they just think, oh, this person's just sitting on Instagram all day.
Oh my God.
It's bro, it's you have to plan it. And you have a fucking calendar, and you have to schedule it.
Yes, and I have 2 now with this, and then my personal.
Yeah. And so all of that comes into account. And then, okay, the socializing with the friends. Which days am I drinking? Does it impact my food goals?
Yes.
Okay, which days am I hanging out with my partner? Which days, like, how much time am I cultivating that? Is that a weekend trip? Is that a day trip? Or
And I think it's important to note, because this all sounds so overwhelming.
It does.
And it can be.
It can be.
And I think it's really important to be able to have that relationship with yourself and that self-awareness to understand when you are getting overwhelmed. Because now if you're adding things into your calendar and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Well, that's your first step that perhaps you're taking on too much.
Yeah.
And especially when you're first starting to build a calendar like this, if this is not already in your practice, you have to be, again, realistic and say, okay, what am I actually going to prioritize and decide to do this week?
Yeah.
And then if you're getting into routine, especially if you're trying to build a habit, then keep it kind of simple at the start, and then you can start adding things in, right?
Because now the basics are met. And if you're someone who has kids, you've got them in some kind of extracurricular activity, well, how many days a week is that for your child?
Yep.
And then how do you coordinate with your partner and their schedule? And where are the little pockets where you have time for you?
Yeah.
And if you're also somebody who has kids, and multiple kids, or any whatever, a kid.
Even one sounds like a lot.
Once I was one, and I was a lot. And my mom was a single parent, so that was kudos to her. I could never do that. That traumatized me, and that's why I have no children. But I think that being realistic with, okay, the child's extracurriculars and spending time with them, and finding that tidbit of time for you of where you can make, like, realistically, right? Because if you're a parent, you still need time with your partner. You still need time with your friends and your family. How much time do you really have?
Yeah.
And using those moments for you in an intentional way, and making it a priority that, no, I am going to say no to anything that comes up that isn't like an emergency that requires me. This is for me. And if you don't do that, you will struggle with consistency.
Yes.
But I think that we live in a time where you're constantly needed on demand all the time, whether it's through email, whether it's through phone, whether it's your notifications. You have to become very rigid and very strong in your boundaries. And if you don't plan your week ahead, nothing will get done.
No.
You can't plan your day to day, because you'll never make it to the gym. You will never make it to the track. You will never make it to the yoga studio, because you might go for a class, but you'll never get the consistency to actually get the results you need to meet those goals. So whether the goal is a 6-pack, whether the goal is like, I want to hit a PR, or whether it's to become flexible, you're not going to attain it.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic based off of the world that we live in today.
Agreed. As we've learned today, there are many reasons why it is hard to stay consistent with your goals. But I also think that we've given everybody some really good ideas as to how they can hopefully get a little bit more consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's realistic.
And
And I don't think that, you're to become the 1% at the top of these high achievers.
Yeah.
That's a different league. But if
we're not talking about them.
we're not talking about David Goggins. No. We're just talking. Can you just make it to the gym?
Yeah. That's all really.
Just get your cardio and your steps in. just do some stretching and start there. And who knows where that's going to take you, right?
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe you will be the next David Goggins. And
you never know.
Yeah. But if you found value in this episode, please like, share, and subscribe, or share it with someone that you feel might find value in it. And we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.